Welcome to the Old Man Bevan Show. Now, I know in the pilot episode, I said that this was the Old Man Bevan podcast, but my daughter, who's much smarter than me, bless her, corrected me, and she's right. A podcast is technically audio only, and this is oh so much more. I mean, this is the rantings and ravings of your average middle-aged guy. What's that you say? I'm above average? Thanks. I appreciate that. So yeah, I got to do a second show here. My goal was to get 100 views for our first show, and I think I got almost 300. So needless to say, I've just been answering the phone all week with people just wanting to sponsor this and make me become an influencer. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. The comments have been better than the show itself. So please continue to comment. That's been like the most fun. This is an interactive program, folks. You might be asking yourself, really, Old Man Bevan, bathrobe? Has it come to that? Are you on the couch all day watching Judge Judy at this point? The good news is no. But it's about 3:45 a.m. And after getting up for the third time to take a piss, rather than lying in bed with my own thoughts, I thought, why not come sit in front of a camera and share my innermost thoughts with you, the viewing audience? That's what this show is for, honestly. So the title of today's episode is The Wussification of America.
Where's my DoorDash?
Now, back in 2012, my man, the Gov, Edward G. Rendell, wrote a book called Nation of Wusses. And he was ahead of his time. Now, of course, I didn't read said book because I'm a dunce who doesn't read, except for the occasional Stephen King book. But I didn't have to read this book to understand exactly what the Gov was talking about. And as I thought about how to address this and how to explain what I mean by the wussification of America, I've become pretty hip lately, and I'm getting into the whole AI thing. I finally started using some chat GPT. And I wrote to chat GPT. I asked chat GPT, why has America become so soft? And of course, the computer spit out something way better than my non-reading ass could write. So I'm going to share with you exactly what ChatGPT told me as to why America is becoming soft. I got to put on the Old Man Bevan glasses for this. At least I don't have them around my neck yet, on like the metal string, or they're not the kind that snap together in the middle. You know who you are. I know people who wear those. So ChatGPT, why is America becoming so soft? ChatGPT said, number one, decline in personal responsibility. People increasingly blame external factors for their failures rather than taking accountability, whether it's debt, career stagnation, or personal struggles. There's a trend towards victimhood instead of resilience. Pretty good. Number two, overprotection of children. Helicopter parenting and safe spaces have created a generation that struggles with adversity. Kids used to roam freely, get scraped up, and learn life lessons. Now, playgrounds are padded, schools ban competitive games, and everyone gets a trophy. Number three, work ethic decline. Many younger workers prioritize work-life balance over hard work and dedication. There's a growing expectation that jobs should cater to personal comfort rather than the other way around. I kind of disagree with this one. I'm a huge fan of work-life balance, and personally, I think we Americans work too much and put too much emphasis on work. I've always believed that you should work to live, not live to work, but that's whole nother episode there. Moving on. Number four, fear of offending people. Yeah, the rise of political correctness has made people hypersensitive to words and ideas. Instead of debating and disagreeing like adults, many would rather silence opposing viewpoints. Precisely why this webcast, this show will probably get canceled. Number five, lowered physical standards. Okay, The military, police, and other physically demanding professions have faced pressure to relax fitness standards to be more inclusive. In the past, you met the standard or you didn't make the cut. Number 6, over-reliance on convenience. Past generations had to cook, repair things, and do hard labor. Today, people rely on fast food, instant gratification, and outsourcing basic life skills. Number 7, participation trophy culture. Sorry, it's early. The idea that everyone should be rewarded, even if they don't perform well, has eroded the value of competition and personal achievement. Number 8, aversion to discomfort. Cold showers, hard beds, and doing without were common in the past. Today, even minor discomfort is seen as unacceptable, with climate-controlled everything and emotional trigger warnings. I agree. Number 9, erosion of traditional masculinity and femininity. Traits like toughness, stoicism, and resilience in men or nurturing and strength in women have been criticized instead of celebrated. And now there's something called toxic masculinity. New term. Number 10, the rise in victim mentality. More people identify as oppressed rather than focusing on overcoming obstacles. Hard times used to build character. Now they build social media complaints. It goes on to say, while progress in comfort, safety, and equality is good, the pendulum has swung so far that many lack resilience, grit, and the ability to handle hardship. So I couldn't agree more. And I'll get a little political just for a second here. I think that based on the last election, over half of America probably agrees with these things, but the Democratic Party just does not have the balls to step up and say, yeah, these things are reasonable. I kind of agree with these too. Not going to get political, at least not yet and not in this episode. But what I am going to talk about is I think I found the reason for these things. And here's why. Because growing up in that glorious decade called the 80s, as I was lucky enough to do, and before, we had shit like this. Lawn darts. Or jarts, some call them. Yeah. Now, for those of you who might not know what these are, and there's probably maybe 3 of you under 40 watching at this, I'm guessing. These were kind of, it was the same concept as like horseshoes or now cornhole. But instead of throwing nice soft bean bags, we flung these fucking medieval things into the air and tried to get them to come down and stick in the ground around in those round circles. So they didn't always stick in the ground. In fact, I think my dear sister still has a scar on her ass from being impaled by one of these babies. Thank you, Marty Sherry. But I mean, this was the dangerous kind of shit that we used to play. Here's another one. Does anybody remember clackers? Yeah. Speaking of medieval toys, they were like mini cue balls made out of plastic on these strings, and the idea was you'd get them going, and they'd be like clack 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 clack. Yeah, you could. I mean, most kids just hit each other with these things, and they were pretty heavy. Other times, apparently, they would hit so hard that they would like crack and splinter, and go into kids and hurt kids. That's a thing. Here's another one, the classic, the Easy Bake Oven, burning kids since 1963. Yeah, I mean, we were giving these to pretty young kids, and the idea behind this was it was an oven with a light bulb in it that cooked shit. But the light bulb got up to like 300 degrees, and we were just like, go ahead, honey, enjoy your Easy Bake Oven. I mean, what kid doesn't enjoy making shitty cakes and getting burnt on a 300-degree bulb, right? But they were fun. They were great. What else did we used to do? Caps. Yes. How about caps? I mean, they were meant to be put into cap guns and shot, but we all know we took that whole roll and we would go and hit it with a hammer and make a fire. And yeah, that wasn't dangerous at all. But but that's what we did. Um, yeah. What else? Oh yeah. So what ChatGPT said about playgrounds, right? You drive by a playground now, and it's like this short plastic slide, and it's got like the whatever that stuff is, like blue rubber or whatever. It's very safe. Here's the kind of slides that we had. Yeah, look at this baby. I mean, on a summer day, if you were dumb or brave enough to go sit on one of these, it was like sitting on the surface of the sun. I mean, you would lose skin. You wouldn't go down the slide, or there would be skin just stuck on the slide as you went down. Or if it was a good slide and you were able to get some momentum, look how big this thing was. Like you could really fly off that thing, right off the edge. Speaking of which, how about swings, right? I mean, I always thought the purpose of swings on a playground was to get as high as you possibly could and jump off. And, yeah, of course we risked injury, but damn, that was fun, right? I don't see kids doing that in playgrounds anymore. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe I just live in a bubble. And how about this? The merry-go-round, right? I mean, look at this beauty. I don't think they have merry-go-rounds anymore. These were probably canceled too. The idea behind them was that you would just go around, but we all knew that this was basically a mini version of Gravitron, and you'd get all your friends on there, and then one or two of you would grab a hold and run as fast as you could to get that thing going until people started just flying off. Again, super fun, right? How about some other activities? Oh yeah, so when it got cold out during the winter, right? We didn't have $60 thermo socks from REI. No. Mom would call us over and she'd put these on our feet, Wonder Bread bags on our feet, thinking that yes, not only would they keep you dry, but they're going to keep you warm as well, even though your boots weren't insulated either. Yeah, that was a thing. And then once we'd put on those Wonder Bread bags under our boots, we would go out and we would do some really fun stuff like this. Car hopping. Yes. When it did snow back in the day, we would go out and grab onto the bumpers of cars and ride them and slide in the snow for as long as we could before the driver got out and yelled at us. Sometimes, we'd try to pile like 6 people on there and would just rip the bumper off. I mean, look, this was highly illegal, very stupid, super dangerous, but it was really fun, not gonna lie, See, back then, time to take off the old man Bevan glasses, we weren't over-parented, I mean, our parents didn't have the technology we had today. And they couldn't like track us on phones or call us at any time and stuff like that. And we were better off for it, I really feel like. Now, I'm a total hypocrite. I am, because, a lot of this is on us, the Gen X parents and the newer parents. Because, I mean, honestly, if I found out my kid was car hopping, I'd read him the riot act. I'd tell him how stupid and dangerous it is. Because none of us want our children to be injured or, God forbid, killed doing the stupid shit that we did. But maybe it's not such a bad thing to have our kids get hurt once in a while. I mean, I drive through my neighborhood. Again, maybe I'm living in my bubble here, but I don't see kids out like making ramps for their bikes and jumping them. I don't see kids playing tackle football. I don't see kids playing in the streets at all, which is sad and upsetting. And I get it. Like I know where this stuff comes from. It's like we as parents now, we're just pumped with fear, all this clickbait and headlines and just so much things, stories of people getting hurt and killed and all that. And our parents they didn't have that, they didn't have Fox News just pumping fear at them 24/7. So that was a great thing. They'd hear the occasional story about little Jimmy and the boating accident 5 summers ago, but it wasn't something that was just constantly, worrying them. So as a result, we were just allowed to go out and come home when the street lights came on. and that was a great thing. But what I'm getting at here is like I said, maybe the occasional scraped knee or bruise on the elbow is not such a bad thing, and would probably go a long way in helping the next generation become a little tougher and maybe be able to deal with life a little bit easier than what we're doing right now. So that's all I got for this episode. Feel free, again, to like this video, share it, subscribe, whatever the hell you have to do to make somebody start sponsoring this so I don't have to get a real job. But also comment. Like I said before, your comments are actually funnier than the show themselves, and I'm sure people have plenty of stories or memories of dangerous toys and stuff we used to do. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Until next time, OMB out.